Life. Today, I'm talking with Alex Clarke. Hi, Alex.
Hello.
How are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
No, thanks for asking me. I'm happy to be here.
All right, let's jump right in. Can you go ahead and try to place yourself in the context of Carmel swimming? Like, when did you start? How long did you do it? That sort of thing.
Yeah. So I started Carmel Swim Club right before I started high school. So I joined the summer of my 8th grade year. My family had moved over to Carmel, and so we did a club switch. I was originally from Fishers and was swimming for the Fishers Tigers. And then I decided to do Carmel Swim Club and Carmel High School for all 4 years of high school. So I was there for a brief amount of time, but enough to get the experience.
So you started with another program. What was the inspiration just originally for you to get involved in the sport?
So originally, I started out doing gymnastics. I was kind of a late bloomer when it came to swimming. I was always very active as a kid, and my parents stuck me into gymnastics. And then I was really tall, really young, and then I never grew again. So I had to be forced into swimming. And my dad was a swimmer when he grew up. So it was kind of like following in his footsteps. And I started swimming at Stony Creek Swim Club.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if that still exists, but that's where we started. And my brother, we were just getting him in the water to make sure he could swim. And I was just sort of a natural. And so my career took off when I was about 9 is when I started. So a little later.
That's all good.
Yeah.
And where are you now? Personally, professionally, geographically, anything you want to share?
Yeah. So personally, I am single, living life. I'm currently living in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm attending Arizona State University to get my master's in speech language pathology. And I will be graduating in May. So I'm excited to finally end my academic career, but I'm really looking forward to it and to start working.
What's your favorite thing about living in Arizona right now?
Right now, the sun. I mean, I think there maybe less than 30 days of the year that we don't see the sun. So when I come back home, it's definitely a shock when it's gloomy, like 90% of the time.
Mhm.
But I would say the sun. I think when I see the sun, I'm never not happy. So right now, the weather is hard to beat.
Okay, fair enough. All right, you shared a little bit about how you kind of got started in swimming and swimming competitively. What are some of your earliest memories of just being around the water? It doesn't have to be competitive swimming, but playing in a pool or a beach or anything like that.
Yeah, so we were always around the water growing up. I just loved being in it, and I somehow had this natural feel for the water, and I never had a hard time like getting into any type of stroke. I just seemed to feel the water, and my brother loves it. He was kind of the one who got me into the water too initially. He was always underwater, like just loved feeling the pressure of the water in the pool. And so I followed suit. And so I think some of the earliest memories, I just loved racing. I always wanted to beat everyone. It was this competitive attitude I had, and swimming helped me develop that. That's what I remember most, was just wanting to beat everyone. So that was probably my earliest.
Okay. Can you identify the most significant lesson you learned during your time with Carmel Swim Club?
This is one of the hardest questions. I think there are so many lessons that Carmel has created, but I wrote down a few that have really stuck with me to how I live my life today. And I think the first one is just mind numbing consistency. I feel like the coaches were always ingraining that in me. And I mean, that could probably equate to just hard work. You know, every day you show up and you're there and you do the work, and the more consistent you are, the more likely the results you want are going to basically flourish. So I think mind numbing consistency is one of the biggest lessons I learned from Carmel, as well as Ian's not there anymore, but he always used to say, work the plan and trust the process. So honestly, I think you can't have the results unless you're willing to put in the work during that that the whole process to get to that point. So we can't just imagine that everything's going to work out in the end, but really putting that effort in consistently with that mind numbing consistency is honestly one of the biggest takeaways I've had. And if you apply that to anything in your life, you're most likely to get some sort of result that is positive.
Agreed. I know I still rely heavily on my plans. I struggle sometimes when things go off, but planning and process, it's huge. I'm with you there.
I agree. And I think they ingrain too that, we all want to see the process in the plan that's extremely linear. But I think they were always good at letting you know that even though if you have a down day, you're still on that path towards the linear to what you want to achieve at the end of the season. So no matter what day it is, whether you're doing the work or not, and if it's what you wanted that day, it doesn't matter because you're still on that path to getting to your results. So
absolutely,
that's probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned.
It's a good one. What advice or insights would you offer to current swimmers?
One of the best things you can do, and everyone always says it, but is to have fun and show up and be there for your teammates. It's when I'm looking back on it, you don't remember the hard practices. You don't really remember a lot of those successful moments. You remember the memories that you make with your teammates, and the friendships are a lifetime. So I would say cherish those memories now and just live in the moment. It's a lot easier to say that now that it's done. But when you really live it, I know it was a pain sometimes at Carmel Swim Club, but I really do cherish those memories that I made with my teammates that I still talk to today and who are on different paths now, but really just immersing yourself in the friendships that you make at Carmel Swim Club is one of the biggest takeaways, I think, from the sport.
I love that. What would you tell somebody who was thinking about joining Carmel Swim Club?
Do it. Do it. I think, I think a lot of people envy the culture in the atmosphere that Carmel has created. But I think one of the biggest things is, and they preach it now, is there's no big secret. They're doing everything right and the way that you should, and focusing on those finer details and what's important. And they always say swimming takes you places, and it really does. Whether you're going to swim in college or not, swimming will take you places based on what you've learned. So I say do it. And if you're going to do it with all you've got, and you will have some sort of positive outcome from Carmel Swim Club, whether it be fast swimming or not.
Sure. I think that's great. Okay. This has proven to be a little bit of a tricky question for people. You don't have to narrow it down to one, but do you have a favorite Carmel swimming memory that you would like to share?
There are quite a few memories, but I think the one that I think back most on, and like I said, you don't always remember the successful moments, but there was my junior year of high school. I remember going to the state meet, and I was just feeling really good, and everything around me was falling into place. My swimming was falling into place. My friends were falling into place, and my family was in a great place. So everything just clicked. And I remember in high school, I swam breaststroke, which is funny because I did not focus on that in college at all. But somehow, some way, just the environment in the training that TJ, Chris, and Ian helped me do while I was in high school really helped my breaststroke evolve, and I ended up breaking the school record. And I think that recently was broken. So props to the girl who broke that. That's great. But we just needed breaststrokers, and I was just so honored to honestly earn that record. So that was probably one of my favorite memories. But there's also many dance memories that I remember having. There we would have a lot of dance offs. So
did you have a favorite dance off song?
Yes, the WAP. There were several times where the WAP was just a hit. So I would say the WAP for sure.
Okay. All right.
So that's probably one of my favorite high school memories.
I love it. Do you think there is anything that people might be surprised to know about Carmel Swim Club?
Kind of going back to what I said earlier about just the secrets, it's everyone's always asking, what's Carmel doing that everyone else isn't doing? And I think the best thing about Carmel is there really are no secrets, and we'll lay it on the line, this is what we're doing, this is how we do, and the expectations that are set are so foundational for the program that it just, you come in and you're required to do that. And if you're not going to do that, then you can go somewhere else. So I think the expectations are at such a high level that there really are no secrets. We're happy to tell you what we're doing, and we're paying attention to the finer details, but we're also working extremely hard. So when you do all of those things, you create success, and it takes one person to set those. So I think that would probably be the most surprising thing, is that there really is no secret.
Yeah. And it's interesting too. I think having the perspective too of having come from another program, you kind of can make assumptions from the outside looking in, like, oh, what are they all doing over there? But then once you're in it, it's just people working hard and working together. And like you say, there's not some magical thing that everybody's doing. I
There's
think the
no
magical
magic
thing is the people. Right.
Right, exactly. It's the bonds that you form there with the coach and the teammates as well, and just that trust that you build with your coach, and the belief that they have in you is honestly what I think is so special about Carmel Swim Club. And of course, we have some resources, and we're very fortunate to utilize those at the pool and or in the weight room. But at the same time, we're happy to show you that, or what are you doing that we aren't, and it's always evolving too. And I always appreciated that we're never doing the same thing. What's new and upcoming, like, we're going to try it, and we're going to do it the best and then make it better.
Yeah.
So
you can't you talk about the mind numbing consistency. You can't have that consistency and performance over such a long time without being willing to try new things and to be innovative. You have to go for it on that side of it.
Exactly. It's a combination of a plethora of things, but as long as you apply the mind numbing consistency to that, I think that's what's so great. And you're most likely going to see results, whether it may not be the result you want, but in some way you can always learn something from an experience, whether it's a failure or a success. And I think that mind numbing consistency can be applied to pretty much anything in your life, whether it's swimming or not. So
yeah, get your 10,000 hours in.
Exactly.
Anything else that you want to add or share?
Other than I had the most wonderful experience at Carmel Swim Club, I have nothing but gratitude and just basically how thankful I am for everything that I've learned from swimming that I have now applied to my life. And I think one of my biggest takeaways that I can take from Carmel Swim Club is my time management too. Yeah. I have a hard time relaxing, and I think that it's gotten so well that I just don't even know what to do with myself if I'm not doing something constantly. Now that swimming's over for me, that frees up about 6-7 hours in the day.
A little bit of time.
Yeah. So I think just the things that swimming has taught me that I'm now using today is priceless.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Alex.
Thanks for having me.